Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Captain Quasar, and welcome back to another live stream. I guess before we start, I should say this was just my best attempt at a chowder costume. I made it a while back. I made this hat myself, crochet and all. I know I'm a talented individual. But today, we are going to be doing some creepypasta readings. Wow, what timing. My cat food dispenser is dispensing cat food. He doesn't even care. It's just being loud. But, yes, we're going to be reading the Jeff the Killer and follow-up stories. They're some of my favorite. They're probably some of the first ones that I saw when I was growing up that really got me into creepypastas. I really got into creepypastas for a long time. It was one of the easiest forms of media that you could just like turn on and listen to in the background while doing other stuff. And I definitely grew out of it at some point, but maybe it's time to get back into the creepypasta world. We are going to start with the original Jeff the Killer story. Welcome in, Alex. Welcome in the few people that are in already. I really do appreciate everybody that stops in. We're going to start with the original Jeff the Killer creepypasta. This page has some like info about like the origins of the story, the folklore, the fake stuff, the real stuff, the cool stuff, the bad stuff. But what I want to do is go through the actual stories themselves because I find that to be the most interesting. Holy moly, Jeff the Killer, middle school flashback, so true. Jeff the Killer is just, he's so far ingrained in internet culture. You forget about him, but he lurks in the shadows. Like the creepypasta would have you believe. So let me know if this music ends up being too loud, because it's going to go through a playlist that I have of different songs. And I just want to make sure that they're not too crazy loud while I'm reading. Only the OGs remember Jane the Killer. Don't worry. Don't worry. We have Jane's letter. I don't know if we're going to get through all of it. I don't know if we'll read Jeff versus Jane. But maybe I'll do that in a follow-up. You know, we have all of October to get spooky. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. We're just going to jump right into it because we have a lot of stories to read today. Let me turn this down in my headphones because it's going to throw me off. There we go. I read this story as an 11-year-old at night, and it legitimately scared me from sleeping with my back towards the window. I was trying to look into it a little bit. I thought the story itself was written by like an 11-year-old, but I might be mistaken. Like I was trying to look into it a little bit as I was pulling all these together, but who knows? So let's begin. Jeff the Killer creepypasta story. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. I had a bad dream and I woke up in the middle of the night, says the boy. I saw that for some reason, the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth. A long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream.
That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming it at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing. I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes. And that psychotic smile. They will never, ever leave my head.
Those dark, sexy eyes. You're so right, Alex. You know, this is what I mean, though, by it seems written like by a child. Is just some of the things, like for some reason they added a "says the boy," but then didn't continue that as they kept writing, because you don't need to add that in this kind of like dialogue chain. It's clearly just kind of like a monologue of sorts. But then, just like the way the boy speaks too. That is when I got back into my bed. I sauntered back to my room. Your dad what? He bust that door down. Imagine your dad comes into the room, busts open the door, and it was just your significant other you were trying to sneak in. He broke the door off of its hinges. You've never heard this version? This is the OG version. This is the 2011 version. There is the longer version that I have off to the side that was actually released in 2015. This one would probably take somewhere around an hour to read in total. It has so many different parts. It is very thorough. And again, maybe I'll do that at a later date. But what we're doing for today is really getting the origins of Jeff the Killer and where the story originally started. Your dad busts in as you bust in? Damn. What do you do in that moment? 1 second, Dad. 1 second. Okay, sorry. Let's continue. Let's continue with this horrifying story. Police are still looking for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description of this story, please contact your local police department. Jeff and his family just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain, though. A new, better house, what was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turns around and calls over her son. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, my two sons, Jeff and Lou." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family were done packing, Jeff went up to his mom. "Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid." "Jeff," said his mother, "we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now we're going to that party, and that's final." Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, It was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. Excuse me, Jeff and Lou? I had no idea Jeff was Asian. It's possible. My name, Jeff? That's pronounced Liu. I've just always heard it pronounced Lou in all of the stories, so I guess that makes sense. It's Liu. Do you think it was a self-insert? That's the writer's real name? For the sake of consistency in the recording, I'm going to keep saying Lou, but in the follow-up stories, I'll say Liu, and it'll be a retroactive... what do they call it when they do it in TV shows? When you retcon? We're going to do a retcon later, but for the consistency of this story, I have to keep saying Lou. But I do like that he's not. It's not pain. It's not anger. He's got this weird feeling inside. Yes, but Jeff has this weird feeling. Leo, sorry. My bad. Not reading. Not reading properly. Leo. That's supposed to be Leo? That is the worst spelling of Leo I've ever seen. The feeling is horniness, by the way, yeah. He just got his first boner, he doesn't know what to do. He's like, I got this feeling. It's not pain, it's just this weird feeling. It's not painful, it just... there's something. Sorry, let's just move on, yes. I'm gonna continue saying Lou, though, like I said. My bad. My bad. We'll get to Leo later. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. As he sat there, eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time, it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back in surprise. Hey, what the hell? The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands, as opposed to his feet. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He was wearing an Aeropostale shirt. I don't know why that's so funny to me. He was wearing an Aeropostale shirt. He was wearing an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans.
Well, well, well. It looks like we got some new meat.
Suddenly, 2 other kids appeared. One was super skinny and the other was huge.
Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith.
Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have.
And he's Troy.
They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling.
And I,
said the first kid,
am Randy. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, There is a small price for bus fare, if you catch my drift.
Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when one of his friends pulled a knife on him. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do the hard way. Sorry, I did read that wrong. It seems we must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid.
Listen here, you punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else.
Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife.
Oh, and what'll you do?
Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Lou could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. Bro unlocked Ultra Instinct in that moment. Jeff, how do you... was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, oh my god, let me slow down for a second. Zoom in. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Lou just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was, the urge to just hurt someone. Jeff was super cool, and he just started beating the shit out of them, and then he cut a couple of them, and he fucking did a backflip real quick, and fucking started breakdancing. He did a little windmill, and then fucking dunked. And then he went to school and didn't say anything about it, because he's humble like that, too. As he fell, he cummed all over. Captain, are you good? No, I'm not. I keep fucking up. I can't read today. And this whole thing is going to be reading. There's an issue. Give me a second. Let me cough. Let me take a drink. I'm supposed to be in a spooky mood. I'm in a silly, goofy mood because of the music right now. He 360 no-scoped the pocket knife out of the bully's eye socket. Into the bully's eye socket, sorry. He's telling you, I can't read today. Zoom in again. No, that makes it worse. Okay, sorry. I'll continue. I'll slow down a little bit. Actually read what I'm saying. Don't input my own words. It's okay. Reading can be hard. So true. Those of us that reached a college reading level in like 6th, 7th grade and then just completely forgot how to read as soon as they entered high school. As soon as I discovered what drugs were, it just... Who cared about reading? I'm just kidding. Sorry, let's continue. We need to get through this story. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away, and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop and how he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, He felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look.
Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids. That it wasn't regular fighting and that they were stabbed? Stabbed, son.
Jeff's gaze fell on the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Lou."
"Son."
Oh, sorry, that's the police officer. "Son," said one of the cops, "we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach. And we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now, what does that tell us?" Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Lou had been attacked, but then there was no proof. It was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say that they were fleeing, or they couldn't say that they weren't fleeing because, truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou. "Son, call down your brother." Jeff couldn't do it, since it was he who beat up all the kids.
"Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me."
The cop looked at his partner and they both nod. "Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie."
"Wait,"
says Lou. They all look up to see him holding the knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Lou.
"It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it."
He lifts up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. "Son, just put down the knife," said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. "No, Lou, it was me. I did it." Jeff had tears running down his face. "Huh, poor bro. Trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away." The police led Lou out to the patrol car.
"Lou, tell them that it was me. Tell them. Yeah, I was the one who beat up those kids."
Jeff's mother put her hand on his shoulder.
"Jeff, please. You don't have to lie. We know it's Lou. You can stop."
Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway. Seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what is it?" Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into his house, seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou that it was his fault. Or how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. That is just... I'm sorry, I'm telling you, it's weird writing, too. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing out of his mind. 2 days went by, with no word from Lou or JDC. No friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woken up by his mother, with a happy, sunshiny face. I do want to go back for a second. Isn't it just so funny that the cops are like, "Well, a year in juvie." Why does the dad sound like the cop? Sorry, I only have so many voices. I'm trying my best.
The dad was the cop. Yeah, the cops just sentenced him on arrest. They didn't do any more investigating. They didn't interrogate him to actually get the full story of what happened and corroborate it with the witnesses and the victims of the crime. It's not like the 3 kids that got stabbed and beat up wouldn't be like, hey, it wasn't him, it was his brother. But no. The police get to decide right there in the moment. Well, it's a year in juvie for you. Sorry to say. Sorry, I'll try and do better at the voices. But yes. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woken up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face.
Jeff, it's the day, she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into the room.
What's today? Asked Jeff as he stirred awake.
Why, it's Billy's party.
He was now fully awake. Mom, are you joking right now? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after... There was a long pause.
Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now get dressed.
Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and a pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up. His mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, He thought why they would ever wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party. Did you ever have dreams that one day that you want him to do you so much that you could do anything?
Son, is that all you're wearing? Son, is that all you're going to wear?
Said Jeff's mom. Better than wearing too much, he said. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hid it with a smile.
Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression.
Oh, that's his father. Now, Jeff, boy. Try and do some weird, ambiguous accent. Here, I'll do a super raspy voice. Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression, said his father. Jeff grunted and went back up to his room. I don't have any fancy clothes, he yelled downstairs. Just pick out something, called his mother. He looked around in his closet for what he would call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He looked around and found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which go with dress pants. Finally, he found a white hoodie and put that on. You're wearing that? Sorry, I'll do it in both voices.
You're wearing that?
You're wearing that? They both said. His mother looked at her watch.
No time to change. Let's just go, she said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door.
They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and it appeared that Barbara... What the fuck?
I'm sorry. I swear, this isn't just me being a poor reader. His dad's a soprano. You want him to do you, Captain, so much that I can do anything. They knocked on the door, and at it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. Okay, if Billy's is across the street, they definitely had time to change. That's a fair point. Why didn't his parents just go over and be like, oh, Jeff's getting ready. He's going to be just a minute. Sorry, he slept in. Just do one of those. You live across the street. Who cares? I forgot that it was literally the next door neighbor. They live across the street. That counts as next door, right? They knocked on the door, and at it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. The kids are out in the yard, Jeff. How about you go and meet some of them? Said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Suddenly, a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat.
Hey, wanna play?
He said. No, kid. I'm way too old for this stuff. I've decided on that voice for the kid. I have to keep doing it. God damn it. The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face.
Please,
said the kid. Fine, said Jeff. I'm sorry. He put on the hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. At first, he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Lou. So he played with the kids for a while until he heard a noise, a weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred.
Hello, Jeff. Hello, Jeff, is it?
He said.
We have some unfinished business.
Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you and you got my brother sent to JDC. Randy got an angry look in his eyes.
Oh no! I don't go for even, I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today.
LMAO, this is def as self-insert from the tween author. I'm telling you. Kid sounds creepy as hell. I'm sorry. It's my best kid voice. As he said that, Randy jumped. Sorry. So he just said we're gonna beat the shit out of you. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randy off of him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets. No one interrupts or guts will fly. That's not the voice I made for the kid. Wait, which one's the voice I made for the fat kid? There's too many voices I've decided on for this. God damn it. I'll do it like this now.
No one interrupts or guts will fly,
they said. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face.
After 3 kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks Jeff... Troy grabs him. Need some help? He picks Jeff up... He picks Jeff up by the back of his collar and throws him into the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand up, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood.
Come on, Jeff! Fight me!
He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over his head.
Fight!
He throws Jeff back into the living room.
Come on, Jeff! Look at me!
Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood.
I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC. And now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year? You should be ashamed.
Jeff started to get up. What are all the parents doing right now? Weren't there like a bunch of adults just chilling inside? What are they doing? What the fuck? Like what? I'm Squidward. Do a voice that sounds like Sheen from Jimmy Neutron. I can't really do Sheen that well. I can. You gotta think of those lines that you can do well, and then you can do it better. Oh no, I can't do Carl now. I've been doing too many raspy voices. It's making it hard. My croissant. No, I can't do it. Might be phlegm, might be something else caught in my throat. My croissant. Jimmy. Oh no, I can't. I literally can't do it right now. God damn it. I used to be able to do a pretty good Carl Weezer. Jimmy's mom. Jimmy's mom. You can hear it. It's like in my nasal cavity. It's caught. Got to work that out. So, sorry. Jeff starts to get up.
Oh, finally. You stand and fight.
Jeff is now at his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets a strange feeling. The one in which he hasn't felt in a while.
Finally, he's up,
says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone, and all he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch, blood gushing from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. You know, this is like a... I've taken this like one thing throughout my entire life because I thought it was so funny. And I've said that to people. It's like, I'll just punch him in the heart over and over again. Because the idea of doing that and then that's what kills him is so crazy. Just, and Troy and Keith did nothing. They watched in horror. Punch after punch, blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. He went, and then keeled over. He experienced ego death just then. That's what happened. Sorry, I kind of blew out the speaker right then. Sorry to all the headphone users. My bad. High precision punches. Bro is hitting some fists of fury. The Kill Bill punch. Okay, sorry. Let's continue. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs up the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind. As they let out their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs a towel rack and rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack at Troy's face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He is more agile than Troy, though, and ducks as Jeff swings the towel rack. He drops the knife and grabs Jeff by the neck. He pushes him into the wall. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the shelf. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best as he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there, bleeding to death, he let out one ominous smile. Sorry, I read that wrong again. He let out an ominous smile. Just a singular ominous smile. One ominous smile, not two. But he let out an ominous smile. "What's so funny?" asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. "What's funny," he said, "is you're covered in bleach and alcohol." Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. The flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, drop to the ground nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That was when he passed out. When Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulders and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized that there was some tube in his arm. And when he tried to get up, it fell out. And a nurse rushed in. "I don't think you can get out of bed just yet," she said as she put him back in his bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. Jeff couldn't answer, though. His face was covered, and he was unable to speak. "Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you, they decided to let Lou go." This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. "He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again." Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the days where his bandages were to be removed. His family members were all there to see it, what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed. "Let's hope for the best," said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screamed at the sight of his face. Lou and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. What happened to my face?" Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face. It's horrible. His lips were burnt in this deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color and his hair singed from brown to black. He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. Jeff, said Lou, it's not that bad. It's not bad, said Jeff. It's perfect. His family was equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Jeff, are you okay? Okay. I've never felt more happy. Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me. He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it in the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity, snapped. Oh, sorry. Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity, his psyche, snapped. Now he was left as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents still didn't know. Doctor, said Jeff's mom, is my son all right, in the head?
Oh yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here, and we'll give him a psychological test.
Oh, thank you, doctor. Jeff's mother went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks at his mother, his face still formed into a crazy smile.
Okay, Mommy.
How's my crazed Jeff laugh? What do you guys think?
His mother took him by the that doesn't make any sense. His mother took him by the shoulder, grabbed him by the fucking arm. Come here. Get over here.
Oh, this is completely normal. Oh, you mean the psycho babbling? The psycho babbling, you mean that? That's completely normal, completely regular. Some would even say it's too regular. Typical.
His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. This is what came in, said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and now stitched together. Jeff's mother led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that this was their final day of life. Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. Jeff, what have you done? Asked his mother. Jeff looked over at his mother. I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes, ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes. His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired, and my eyes started to close. I burned out my eyelids so I could forever see myself. My new face. Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful? Captain, I hope you know, when you were making the death sound, I was losing my shit while driving LMAO 10 out of 10. I'm sorry. Thank you.
But what's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful?
Yes, son, she said. Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy so he can see your face.
She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep.
Honey, get the gun.
She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway holding a knife.
Mommy, you lied.
That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with a knife, gutting both of them. His brother Lou woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and started to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Lou. Lou thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip.
Shh, Jeff said. Just go to sleep.
So that was the original Jeff the Killer. Like I said, there is a 2015 version. If you'd like to hear me read that, I can take the time to do it on a separate stream and do it or maybe I can do it in my free time and actually just upload it and do a real theatrical reading and read it all the way through. That would be kind of nice. I'm going to upload this condensed, kind of cut out all the us chatting and stuff, and upload it to the channel as well. But that was Jeff the Killer. I know most people have probably heard the 2015 version. The 2015 version is the version in which Jeff's mother takes him to Keith's or to Randy's house or whatever. I think it's Keith's house in the story. I don't remember, but she tries to like become friends, and there's a whole thing with like a shotgun and like there's a little bit more depth to the story in that one of his origin, and they kind of retcon a few things. I have literally never heard of the 2015 version. Yeah, the 2015 version I think is the more popular one. The original one, it's weird. I don't know if the 2015 one's actually more popular. I don't know. They're probably equally as popular, and nobody knows that most people don't know that the other one exists. Because I know about both of them. I know both of them pretty well. But yes, there are this page actually goes into more depth about the story itself and other things. But what we're going to do is move on, because there's a Jeff the Killer 2. Jeff the Killer Returns. Both of these are kind of shorter, so we'll be able to get through these a little bit quicker. But then Jeff the Killer versus Slender Man is the one that I want to maybe finish off with today. I did want to do Jane's letter too. Okay, we'll at least be able to read Jane's letter. Maybe we'll do that before Jeff the Killer. But then we have Jane the Killer, the real story. We're going to do that on a different stream. And then also Jeff versus Jane. We have so many different creepypastas to get through. There's some good stuff to do. We've only done about an hour, but we do have a few things to get through still. So we'll get through what we can, as much as possible. Joker beatbox.
Why so serious?
I can't beatbox. That's all I got.
Wow, wow. Wow, wow. Wow, wow. Wow, wow.
That's my beatboxing right there.
Why so serious?
I keep peeking a lot. My bad. Yeah, there is a 2025 version too, or it was like 2023, I think. So there's some new updated versions. Yeah, there's a lot of crossovers. The Creepypasta crossover universe is pretty good. When I read the Garfield one, I really wasn't expecting to get Jeff the Killer and Slendy Bob and all these different characters. Okay, not bad. 6.5 out of 10. The Bow Wows really up the score here. True. Thanks. I always got some sick beats on deck. Do some pencil beats. That was a terrible one. I ain't got rhythm. Said he ain't got rhythm. Yeah, I ain't got rhythm. Yeah, got rhythm. Got rhythm. It's something to see. Yeah, got rhythm. It's something to see. Got rhythm. I ain't got rhythm. Okay, sorry. Continuing. This is on the Just the Kittens fandom Reddit for some reason. This is Jeff the Killer 2. He's back. Oh no. Oh no. Brr, brr, sure, brr. Oh, boo, so scary. Okay. Jeff the Killer 2. The following is based on true events. Do we believe that? Yes, Garfield. And I love that it was John that asked about Garfield. Thanks, John. Oh, wait, I have a good Garfield I want to show off. Taking off the hat made the hair look so much funnier. Gotta show off my Garfield real quick. We got the original Beanie Babies Garf. That is the official Garf. That isn't just an orange cat. OG Beanie Babies Garf. There he is. The man himself. He hates Mondays. But now, we will talk about Jeff the Killer 2. My bad. Who's documenting these stories? It depends. The finders of all these haunted VHSs, duh. Who's documenting? I'm documenting these stories now. Live. The Beanie Baby Garfield, yes. There's actually a Creepypasta wiki. This is the... See, this is the fandom wiki or no? Oh no, this is the Creepypasta site. There's Creepypasta.com. And Creepypasta.com has a lot of the OG stuff, top ranked famous creepypastas, creepypasta stories, submission guidelines, and random stories that you can click through. So if you want to go look at some creepypasta, you go to creepypasta.com. That's where they're all like archived, I guess. Because that one is literally showing from 2012. I think the story was written in 2011. And then this is like an updated kind of synopsis and overview of the story, as well as other information surrounding Jeff the Killer. Which, again, we can get to at some point, perhaps. But we haven't even gotten to Jeff the Killer 2. Yes, I do. I do still have the mohawk. I go to the store all the time. You know, people look at me. It's all... who cares? Live your best life. You missed the first one. This will be wild. We'll see how wild this one is. Jeff the Killer 2. The following is based on true events. Day 1. I thought he wasn't real, but I was wrong. I lost a lot of people that night. This will scar me forever. It all began on Tuesday, September 10th, 2012. Me and my friends were setting up the tents of our... Oh my god. My vision is terrible, I swear. Me and my friends are setting up the tents for our film we're making entitled Crow. We were filming in a beautiful valley in New Orleans. We thought the setting were perfect, but we were wrong. We thought the setting was perfect, but we were wrong. Day 2. We began filming on Monday, September 16th, 2012. We were filming the main character being chased by the murderer. After the filming, I decided to overview the footage and make sure it was good. I noticed someone I don't remember who was part of our film crew. He had black hair and a grayish-whitish hoodie. Then again, we had a lot of people working, so I must have just forgotten. Night 1. This is technically night 2 because night 1 would have come after day 1. But this is night 1 after day 2, so night 1. We had to sleep in our tents because our area had no hotels for 50 miles, and my car didn't have barely any gas left because of the long drive from our hometown. I do recall some strange noises when we were sleeping. After we woke up and ate breakfast, that was when it hit me. Someone was killed. I quickly looked to my side to see one of my friends dead. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. I decided to leave the tent. You probably should leave the tent. I mean, your friend's dead. Call the police. After exiting the tent, I saw a dark figure standing. He had messed up hair. I remember a large kitchen knife. He dove after me. I was trying to push him off me, and then I realized I was pushing nothing. I woke up in a police car. A police car. Or sorry, day 3. That was after night 1. Day 3 now. Day 3. I woke up in a police car. My hands were painted in red. A question was inside my head the entire time. Did I do it? We are all Jeff the Killer. Me and my tents. So there we go. That was Jeff the Killer 2. I know. That one's a short one. I don't think it's actually like an official Jeff the Killer 2. I just found that one and I thought it was so funny how it was just such a nothing burger. Like, I don't know why they posted that even at all. But this one is Jeff Returns. This one has a little bit more substance to it. Ring, 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 ring.
Based?
I was trying to hit the bonks as the ring.
Ring, 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 ring.
Lucy heard the phone. She was sitting comfortably in the living room, which seemed miles away from the telephone, constantly shouting for attention in the study. Groaning, she hesitantly dragged herself off the couch and went over to pick it up. What kind of desperate telemarketer was trying to phone her at 11 at night? Whoever it was, she was ready to shoo them away with the most impatient indecency. "Hello? Who is this?" she asked, rolling her eyes as she glanced down to the floor. "Lucy." The voice on the other end of the phone made Lucy stop. Oh, I guess it sounded
Lucy.
The voice on the other end of the phone made Lucy stop. It sounded raspy and unnaturally deep, unlike anything she'd heard before. She was no longer angry. There was just something about that voice that terrified her, but she just couldn't put her finger on what it was. "Who is this? And may I ask, how do you know my name?" The eerie reply she'd been expecting was delivered without fail.
Is this Miss Lucy Wilson?
Yes, it is indeed. And who is this?
Wazza.
You do not enjoy that face? Jeff the Killer 2 was actually bad, so true. You do not enjoy that voice, I'm sorry. I could try and change it up. It's gonna kill my vocal cords by the end of this anyways. Let me know what everybody thinks. Does it fit Jeff the Killer?
I'm afraid that's not necessarily for you to know,
replied the voice.
All you need to know is that I've come to return your cell phone you lost a while ago. Your address was on the Lost and Found catalog. And it's awfully lucky that I've been able to find the phone you wanted back. You should be more careful next time, or you might land yourself in trouble.
I was joking, keep it. It's just the "was up" voice, for real.
What's up? What's up?
Lucy hesitated. The man wasn't lying. She recalled the events that had taken place a month ago, and misplacing her cell phone was certainly somewhere on that list. She'd looked everywhere, but it seemed that it had simply jumped out of her pocket while she wasn't aware. The smartphone had cost a fairly decent amount of money, so she decided to put her address on the local Lost and Found. What the hell? That's just such a dumb idea. The smartphone had cost a fairly decent amount, and so she decided to put her address on the local Lost and Found website. Now that this man had found it for her, she was beginning to feel grateful towards him despite his eccentricity. She was surprised at his decency. She hated to admit it, but she knew that if she was in his position, she would have most likely taken the phone for herself. However, something seemed off. Not with the man himself, but the whole situation in general. Why would he decide to call so late at night?
Ah, yes, I remember now. Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful. I never thought anyone would really find that thing.
Right.
So, where can I meet you? It would be great if you could come over so I can thank you personally.
This might be the dumbest person ever. This guy is clear. Like, don't meet at a neutral location. Meet at like a McDonald's. Meet like a 24-hour McDonald's or a Whataburger. Go somewhere. Don't go to your house. Don't invite them to your home while you're home alone at the middle of the night.
Sorry, I don't quite get you.
I mean, could I meet you in person somewhere so you could return my phone, or do you prefer to do it by post?
But there's no need for that now, Lucy. Just look outside your window.
Lucy paused. What was the man talking about? Had he left the phone outside her house?
I'm sorry, but why?
Just look outside your window.
No reply.
Just look outside your window.
The demanding voice of the man was chilling. Lucy kept silent as she lifted the blinds up slightly, scanning her front garden. She continued to pull the blinds up until the whole window was exposed, but as far as she could see, there was nothing that stuck out in the garden except for her garbage bin.
I've realized we've been talking all this time, but I still don't know your name. What can I refer to you as?
You can call me Jeff. My name Jeff.
The phone hung up. Confused, Lucy sighed and put the phone back in its holster. People were so unpredictable these days. Turning around, she thought she saw a flash in the corner of her eye. However, there was still nothing outside the window, so she began to put the blinds down. Suddenly, she saw a face appear out of nowhere on
on the other side of wait. Suddenly, she saw a face appear out of nowhere on the other side of the window pane. Lucy screamed as she instinctively backed away. I don't know why am I reading so poor tonight. As if I'm not bad at reading every night. I love this. This is it. This is the image she saw. This is horrifying. This would have terrified me at 10. 10 years old, I would have pissed myself. I would have just finished watching a gore video and then listened to Jeff the Killer and been like, oh my god. Lucy screamed as she instinctively backed away, dropping the blinds down with a crash. The face was shrouded in an instant, but she could have sworn she'd seen it. Its wide, bulging eyeballs were surrounded by shriveled-up black eyelids. And its face was bleached white. It had a dry, bristly fringe of black hair and a smile carved into its face, almost severing the jawbone from the rest of the skull. Lucy couldn't even tell if it was a human face or not. Whatever it was, she'd never been more terrified in her life.
I've got your phone, Lucy. Why don't you let me in? Don't you want it back?
Beads of sweat rolled down the side of Lucy's face. She recognized the voice outside her window. It was the same voice she'd heard on the other end of the phone. What horrified her even more was the fact that she wouldn't be able to call the police because the man would be listening right outside her house. He would be able to smash the window and get in at any moment. After that, there would be no knowing what would happen to her. Lucy started to cry, with her hand over her mouth. She turned and ran, sobbing, out of the study and into the living room. She searched the cabinets wildly and fumbled for the key at the bottom. Grabbing it, she slammed the door shut and unlocked the back door. She turned around momentarily and heard the sound of glass breaking. Screaming wildly, she ran out of the door and through the garden. Getting the ends of her dress stuck on some thorns, she tore the bows off the ends of her dress. She needed to get away from that man, that thing, as quickly as possible. Grabbing the top of the fence, Lucy started to frantically pull herself up. She turned to see the man closing the living room door behind him. As he stepped into the garden, he wasn't even running after her. He was just standing in the garden, amused at her pathetic attempts to escape. Slowly, Jeff walked towards her. Lucy was still trying to pull herself over the wooden fence, but her arms just didn't seem strong enough. Jeff grabbed her legs and pulled her off the wall, slamming her onto the ground. Tears filled her eyes as she begged him to spare her. She tried to pull herself away, but his foot was planted firmly onto her back, pinning her to the ground. He tilted his head and pulled out a knife, tracing the path of his cut along her throat. Lucy whimpered, staring into his eyes in fear. Tears rushed down her face as she saw him take the pink, glowing cell phone out of his pocket, bending it backwards until it broke in half with a snap. The glow faded slowly as he chucked the broken compartments onto the floor. The sickening cracking sound could be heard again as he stepped on its remains, making the screen disintegrate into 1,000 tiny pieces of glass. Jeff leaned in closer as he raised the knife.
Go to sleep.
The music was super spooky until the very end, and then it switched, and it made it a little goofy. What's your favorite scary movie? It's hard to say. See, I've said this before, but it's not technically a horror movie. Because I'm a fan of B-horror, horror comedy style stuff. So I like Evil Bong and The Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and
Toxic Avenger, and like those are like my favorite like B horror, because B horror is probably like my favorite genre. But when it comes to strict horror movies, I like Friday the 13th. It's pretty good. And then I guess Nightmare on Elm Street, the series, is probably my favorite. I like Freddy as a character. It was better than Jeff the Killer 2, but still, it still ain't that good. It still ain't that great, gotta be honest. It's 3. Okay, so I've only been doing this for an hour and 15 minutes. We have 2 stories I'll get through. I guess I'll do the Jane's letter and then Jeff the Killer. I don't think I'll have time to do the full Jane the Killer story, so I think what I'll do next time is read the Jane the Killer story and the Jeff vs. Jane, and maybe on a separate stream read the full 2015 Jeff the Killer story, because that one's actually just like, that one might take maybe a few hours. I don't even know. What's the estimated reading time? Does it have an estimated reading time? I guess I could look up how long the videos are normally. It probably wouldn't be more than an hour and a half, honestly. But I'm just thinking I have some other stuff I'm trying to do and some editing and stuff. Jeff the Killer 2015. Oh, okay, there's actually an hour-long version. There's an hour version, and then there's some that are 2.5 hours. So I don't know if that maybe cut out some substance or something. Oh, you know what? What am I even talking about? I completely forgot about the Child's Play franchise. I don't want to call it the Chucky franchise. You gotta be genuine. But you know what pissed me off is the new is it just called Chucky? Because the original Child's Play is goated. But the new Chucky movie, what's it called? Is it called Child's Play 2019? Whatever one when he was AI. As soon as they made him AI, like Child's Play is good, Child's Play 2 is pretty good. Child's Play 3 I think is probably the one I remember the most, because that's the one where they're in like the like military school, if I'm remembering correctly. That one and the Cult of Chucky. Seed of Chucky and Bride of Chucky I almost don't remember at all. I only remember the Bride from the Cult of Chucky, the ending. But Child's Play franchise is good, is a great one as well. Let me just look up like just top horror movies, and I'll see. The Hills Have Eyes is good. The Hills Have Eyes is also good. Here on Rotten Tomatoes, top 200. Jaws is I guess Jaws is considered horror. Aliens, all right. Silence of the Lambs is good. Halloween, good. Shaun of the Dead, goated, but again, that's more like comedy horror. Comedy horror, I think, is like my, B horror. B horror specifically because B horror is like the low budget, but comedy horror is probably one of what I prefer over strict horror. Body horror is good. I like kind of like different body horror stuff sometimes. And that's why I like B horror, because they do a lot of practical effects. And practical body horror is interesting. Watching like skin bubble and stuff practically is cool. Evil Dead is good. Evil Dead is a good series. And Army of Darkness. The Shining. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. That one's a good funny comedy horror. I hosted Bride of Chucky in the Discord last night, and I had so much fun watching it. Jennifer Tilly's voice is so fucking hot. So true, Alex. Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. I'm so embarrassed. Someone just asked if I needed help with my groceries. I'm very capable, I promise. They're just trying to be helpful. Don't worry, they were doing their good deed for the day. Don't forget to do your good deed for the day and say, have a good day to the workers. You'll feel like Zach and feel better about yourself because you're making them feel better about themselves. Saw's good too, but I don't know. Some of the later iterations just became a cash grab over and over again. Ugh, I know I need to watch Silence of the Lambs. I just don't want to. I just don't want it to fuck me up in the head. It isn't that bad. It's pretty. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to like replay it in my head. It's not that crazy, but I also don't know what your threshold is. To be fair, I'm telling you, I'm torn about watching the new Toxic Avenger movie. That's the thing that's got me. The new Toxic Avenger movie's out. There's no way in hell. I don't like Peter Dinklage. I'll go to the grave saying that. I don't like Peter Dinklage, and I'm fearing that they're gonna go woke with the new Toxic Avenger. And I don't mean that in the sense of, oh, they're go woke, yada yada. I literally just mean, if the original Toxic Avenger, the bad guys were saying slurs. And I don't think it's a good thing to have slurs in your movie, but I do like being able to like know that that's the bad guy. I can really know for sure. You know what I mean? You can kind of just go, oh yeah. They're literally hitting people with their car and getting points based on which slur they hit. And children were worth more. And literally the villains at the beginning of the movie run over a child's head. They blow up his head with their car, run it over with a tire. They hit him with the car once, they don't kill him. So they back up and back it over his head, and it explodes. It pops like a balloon. Then the two girls in the car hop out of the car and go take photos of his dead body with like his head exploded on the ground, and they show it all. It's a pretty dope movie scene, I can't lie. Realistic horror movies tend to get me like serial killer shit, because that could actually happen. See, that movie, literally, that scene could actually happen. It's so insane. People could be that insane and actually do that. But then in the next scenes, a mentally disabled guy falls into a vat of acid that then makes him not mentally disabled and also a superhuman and a mutant. The Toxic Avenger is one of the craziest movies of all time. And then I think in the Toxic Avenger 2, he goes to Japan. See, this was the original Toxic Avenger. Can you see it? Yeah, you can. This is the original Toxic Avenger. And this is what the new one looks like. I just don't like it. And part of it is just because it's Peter Dinklage. But the other part is they're trying to make him more like mutant by making him green and stuff. But that's just unnecessary. He doesn't need to be green. Just make him a mutant. I actually have a Toxic Avenger toy. I have an action figure of the Toxic Avenger. That's how big of a Toxic Avenger fan I am. But moving swiftly along. My bad. Back to the stories that we're on. We are on Jane's Letter, aka Jane the Killer. On a hot summer night around 4:30 in the morning, as Jeff the Killer took another victim, this time a young wife, and also leaving her husband with a massive skull fracture as a result of blunt force trauma. The only one to survive was the couple's 4-month-old baby. The police have discovered. The police have. Is this supposed to be like a? I think it's supposed to be like a newspaper reading or something, like an article reading. The only one to survive was the couple's 4-month-old baby that police have discovered crying in the crib. Alongside the child, police have found a letter which was written on the back of a grocery bag. Alongside the child, police have found a letter which was written on the back of a paper grocery bag in black Sharpie marker. And a Motorola droid. What the fuck? Why is there a Motorola droid? Faintly illuminated under the baby's blanket. Wait, what? This is the weirdest, like... Okay. They're trying to build something here. There's some kind of, like... Something here is going to be echoed later on in a future story. Alongside the child, police have found a letter which was written on the back of a paper grocery bag in a black Sharpie marker, and a Motorola droid faintly illuminated under the baby's blanket. The babysitter, who was locked in the closet during the time, claimed she smelled the lingering odor of women's cheap perfume and found body glitter on the baby's crib. But who was it from? Police were able to decipher the writing on the grocery bag, and here's what it said. I'm so confused. So there was a babysitter there, but somehow a young wife and her husband were killed while the babysitter was locked in the closet. Did the parents get home and that's when the guy struck? Or that's when the lady struck? Party rock is in the house tonight, so true. So here's the letter. Jeff, if you are reading this, know that no matter how many innocent victims you claim or how much innocent blood you shed, I'm still coming for you in the end. All of the men and women you so viciously slaughtered and disemboweled, I beat you to it. I killed them not because I hate them. I imagined those victims were you as I took their lives. I imagined those victims were you as I took their lives. It was the mere vision of you that made me kill them. I never did like you, you greasy-headed, grinning, smug, ignorant son of a bitch. My black eyes may look like I'm void of vision, but I'm not stupid. Just remember, the night that you creep into a poor girl's bedroom, you're gonna fall head over heels down the fucking stairs with your guts caught on a broken glass of the window that I smashed you into. Tonight, when I reach you, evil will battle evil. Winner kills all. And the only one who will not get out alive is you. I'm coming for you. Sleep well. Signed, Jane the Killer. Jeff the Killer gone woke and now is a lady, so true. Jeff and Jane gonna kiss. They're gonna make a baby the killer. I'm so scared. But as this is happening, see, Jane's hunting Jeff. This was what was found on the droid phone. Oh, that's what the droid phone was for. The Motorola droid that was faintly illuminated under the baby's blanket was found with this image. Don't go to sleep. You won't wake up. Dun dun dun. Wow, they just keep getting worse. LMAO. Shoddy like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day, like my Motorola droid stuck on replay. But as Jane the Killer is hunting, we have Jeff fighting Slender Man. Yeah, this is probably going to be the last one I read because this one is long. Can I zoom in anymore? How can I just get this? There we go. I just want the text to be fucking bigger. There we go. Okay, but kind of slay. You know, you've got a point. There's something about it. The pearls, the earring, the dangly earring. She isn't coming to kill Jeff the Killer. She's coming to slay Jeff the Killer. We love a queen. Down with the patriarchy? One murderer at a time. Okay. Let us continue. As I said, Jane the Killer is hunting for Jeff, but Jeff is too busy fighting Slender Man. Here they are. Enemies or friends? We'll find out. The dark, wet alley was slightly illuminated by Sarah's cell phone light as she shined it. I wonder if it's a Motorola droid. That's all I could think about in that moment. Do we think that this phone is also a Motorola droid? The dark, wet alley was slightly illuminated by Sarah's cell phone light as she shined it every few seconds to see where she was headed. Her eyes scanned the darkness and she shook crazily. What had happened to her last night was a mystery. She thought back to the bar. She had just come in with some friends. Just a fun night out. Nothing could have happened. This song honestly shouldn't be in this playlist. It's too upbeat. When I was younger, this one didn't make much sense to me. In my mind, Jeff doesn't stand a chance. I mean, a human being that went insane versus some kind of like extra like paranormal entity. I think Slender Man wins. Der Grossman wins 9 times out of 10. If Jeff the Killer isn't using his Ultra Jeffy mode. I don't know, there's probably something like that. When Jeff unlocks Ultra Jeffy mode, his eyes turn red. And he becomes an ultra killing machine as fangs grow from his gums and horns protrude from his skin. The mere hatred inside of him that had been brewing was a demon spawn from within. It wasn't just a feeling, a weird feeling in his tummy. Sorry. What had happened to her last night? Everything was a blur. Now she was trembling, walking from building to building at 3 a.m. Everything was a blur. She passed an old, ratty motel and a pub. Sarah made her way to the outskirts of her neighborhood. Around a heavily wooded area, she walked, clenching her eyes shut tight for moments at the... She walked, clenching her eyes shut tight for moments at a time. She was huddled into her coat for warmth as the cold rain covered her for what seemed like an eternity. Just as her eyelids took cover of her... They're trying to like sound eloquent in like they're speaking, but it's honestly making it hard to read. Sorry, that was actually just me being a bad reader. Just as her eyelids took cover of her eyes, something shined out of the corner of her vision. She instantaneously flashed her eyes open once again, and her pupils became wide. She looked around. Nothing stood out in the blackness and rain. She spun around and continued her way back, hoping she would make it home. As she studied her surroundings, she remembered a shortcut that she took as a kid when she played hide-and-seek with her childhood playmates. It involved climbing through the woods. The cold woman hesitated, but she came to the decision that anything that would get her to her warm home quicker is the better way. Sarah headed towards the forest. As she made her way in, the first tree she laid eyes on had been marked. What was marked on the tree mystified her. What looked like a circle with an X inside. She knew nothing of its origin or meaning.
so she just assumed this was some kind of gang symbol, or something of the sort. Making her way into the forest, she recalled the fun times she had as a kid. She thought to herself out loud, I miss those times, because the world wasn't a... Oh, there's no because there. God damn it.
This is going to be the last one because I need to go learn how to read again, apparently. This is the best song in the playlist. Which one? This one that's playing right now or the one that played before? They're both a little bit spooky. This one has a bit more drum in it. I'm trying to find all the best spooky ones that YouTube has available.
I miss those... I miss those times. Back when the world... Oh my... Back when the world wasn't a bad... And then her voice trailed off. This is weird. This sentence doesn't make any sense. I miss those times. Back when the world wasn't a bad... Her voice trailed off. Sarah heard a loud crack of a tree branch off in the distance behind her. Terrified, she began running through the woods, and she soon became lost. She continued on anyway, hoping for a way out. Her lack of caution quickly resulted in her leg being caught in a near-lying root, and she fell to the ground. Attempting to get up caused her even more pain. She had twisted her ankle. Somebody please help me.
It's me, Jeff the Killer. Don't never fear.
She called out. The crunching of leaves became present again. She attempted to stand and run, but her injury kept her in one place. She clenched her eyes shut out of fear, and as she opened them again, a tall white man dressed in a suit stood before her. She had become visually impaired at the sight of this man. She began screaming in terror, but was soon silenced by the slender, pale man that stood before her in the dark. 4 o'clock. What once was a young boy, now was a cold-blooded psychopath. Jeff the Killer had just finished what he called his daily rounds, the slaughtering of innocent people. This was almost all that flooded Jeff's mind. He dragged his feet up the wet cement as he entered what he had called his home for years. Jeff stepped foot into a world of tragic memories, clenching 2 whiskey bottles in hand. Jeff had become a drunken killing machine. His brain was filled with the scent of murder. One thought that did not cross his psychotic mind had been there since day one. As the rain hit the weary house, Jeff began to recall the night in which he slaughtered his family. He chuckled at the thought. If it wasn't for his insanity, he may have thought about regret, remorse for taking the lives of the people he once loved, but that wasn't possible at this point. Jeff was out for one thing and one thing only. Death. 5:06 in the morning. He took another swig of his alcohol. What the fuck am I sitting here for? Jeff buzzed. As he got up to make his way into the night, he swerved a bit and took another chug at his whiskey. The alcohol hit his warm, bloody lips, and he felt an odd sensation. A sudden urge had hit him. He stood in the room, gazing out at the forest beyond the house. Jeff checked his pockets. Cigarettes, a lighter, and of course, his knife. Jeff knew that something wasn't right. The feeling he got was a mix of the urge to kill again, and something far different than what he had ever felt before.
Can I just say, I do love that in every story, Jeff is just a self-insert for the author. Every time they try and make him like this cool kind of like badass, he's just a drunken killing machine. He just fucking drinks his vodka, his whiskey. He's just getting fucking plastered off his flask. He's like walking around, smoking his cigarettes. You know, he fucking hits a blunt every now and then because he's sick as fuck. Jeff is just super dope like that. At least he kicked the pain pills. So true. Do we think Slender Man keeps a diet, or is he just naturally that skinny? He doesn't have a face. He can't eat food. He doesn't have a mouth. Bruh, I hate the self-insert character. Get to the fight. I'm telling you, every single time it's like Jeff just being like, well, he's doing one of these. Every single time Jeff chills with his hands behind his head like Naruto. Jeff is just a sad boy, so true. He stormed out of his house into the cold, wet night. Jeff was now in the dark street, his only light source being a lamp illuminating the road. The rain, still pouring, hit Jeff's back. He started to move in the direction of the forest. He struggled a bit. His alcohol consumption that night had been extremely high. The killer approached the desolate forest. Before he entered, he took a quick glare to his left. Jeff was not far from the cemetery. He trembled towards it. A thought blew into his mind, almost like the wind on a breezy afternoon. The last piece of his family was only feet away, and it beckoned him. He moved his feet away from the forest and towards the graveyard. Slowly, Jeff walked. Yet he tripped a few times, spanning the short distance. He approached the grave. Jeff graced it with a rotten odor of death, his jacket being covered in the blood and remains of his victims. Jeff simply gazed at the cold slab of granite. His vision was too distorted to make out any sort of words. Because of this, he just stood and stared. Jeff's insides began to feel uneasy and his throat became dry. The same feeling from just minutes before. Jeff stumbled back to the forest while trembling towards the woodland. His eyes wandered to the trees a few feet farther out than the others. What looked like a small grayish piece of paper could be seen hanging by a nail. His eyes blurry. He was unable to read it. He took no attempt either and crept into the darkness slowly, almost as if he recognized this place, as if it were his true home. Squeezing his 2 whiskey bottles, he stuttered. I just hate this. Why is he just drinking so much whiskey? Does he just have fucking a bunch? Does he have like shooters? Or is he carrying around like a fucking, like a fifth? Is he carrying around like a fifth with him everywhere? Like, I'm genuinely a little confused. I also like that he couldn't even make out what the piece of paper said. And he also didn't even fucking try because he's sick like that. You're reading? That's for losers. Nerds. Squeezing his 2 whiskey bottles, he studied the forest in a drunken haze. Jeff admired the darkness. It reminded him of a black hallway. One where the murderer could easily slash the necks of his victims without being seen. As he continued walking, Jeff became, in a way, infatuated. The empty blackness swirled around him, muttering to himself in unrecognizable gibberish. He continued to trot. Something felt a bit odd. The crunching of leaves seemed too loud to account for only one person. Jeff felt as if something was lurking beyond his line. Jeff felt as if there was something lurking beyond his line of sight. "Who's there?" Jeff growled. An abundance of noise could be heard, but nothing out of the ordinary. The chirps of crickets grew louder as Jeff studied his surroundings. "Come on, chicken. I don't really like games, and not hide and seek at all." As Jeff announced this, a quick rustling from a nearby bush could be heard. He slashed at it before the sound could come to a silence on its own. Jeff then saw what was hidden out of sight the entire time.
Damn rats. You're just some good-for-nothing pests,
Jeff proclaimed as the rodents scurried from the leaves. After he had seen what hid in the bush, he continued his midnight stroll. The rain crashing against his back came to a slow stop. His vision was becoming very blurry, and a loud noise was growing within his head. What could be heard was just a figment of Jeff's insane imagination, for the woods were completely silent. The Jeffrey Woods, that's actually his name. He is part of the woods, for the woods were completely silent. He tampered around, dragging his feet and cursing at the almost unbearable noise. Nothing like it had pierced his ears with such discontent before. God damn. I really can't read. That time I keep pointing out all the times I'm flubbing up, and maybe that's worse than just working through it. So you know what? I'm going to just keep messing up and just reading. Stopping from here. Sorry. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll continue now. Nothing like it had pierced his ears with such discontent before. The noise that drowned Jeff slowly became absent. From the pain, Jeff fell to the tree. Both bottles that were once clenched into his hands fell towards the ground. One crashed against the bark and shattered everywhere. The crack of glass had viciously dragged Jeff back into consciousness. As his eyes readjusted to the darkness once more, the blurriness was magnified as Jeff saw a white, oval-like object hovering above him. His eyes quickly focused from shock, but what had been in front of him a few seconds ago was nowhere to be found.
What the fuck was that?
Jeff chuckled at his own remark. Was his mind playing tricks on him?
Now I know that ain't no damn rats.
He hastily came to the conclusion that something had to be lurking in the darkness, following him from a distance.
That's it. I'm done playing games. Where the fuck are you, you bastard?
Jeff screamed to the top of his lungs in hope of some kind of response. He was answered abruptly. As he started to walk again, he felt the slightest tingle on his neck.
That's not the damn air, fucker. Get the hell out of the bushes before I decide to fuck you up.
Jeff felt wild at this point. Nothing about this place was right, but he was enjoying every minute of it. Oh my god. He was enjoying every minute of it. Maybe I'm just too tired now. Swiftly, he pulled his shining blade from his coat pocket and began slashing at trees in the darkness.
Come out, bitch, he cried out. No hiding now. I'll cut every last chip of bark to slit your throat.
This is what I mean by self-insert. They really want Jeff to be like this really sick badass. Come on, Jeff, just be a stoner like the rest of us. So true. Acting like his life's been hard. What's he need the liquor for? Who cares if it broke a little bit? Jeff pointed his knife towards a tall, thin tree protruding from the left of his vision and stabbed. He was astonished to see that on direct contact, the tree, or what he thought was a tree, faded away into the darkness in a matter of milliseconds. Not knowing what to do, he glanced quickly towards his right and stabbed at the black of night. He peered out into the wood and saw not what he had expected. What stood before the psychotic boy was an extremely tall, thin man, dressed in a clean black suit. This was all that Jeff could make out at the time. The darkness caused Jeff's sight to become immensely distorted. Jeff's eyes had cleared again, and he quickly began to observe the man. He was emaciated, his face pale, almost pure white in color. As Jeff studied the face, he soon came to notice the lack of facial features on this man. This thing's face was completely empty. No eyes, nose, or mouth. Just a white, blank head. This made Jeff feel a bit uneasy, and he soon broke out into a laugh. Although astonished, Jeff soon addressed the figure before him.
So you were the bastard chasing me through the woods, huh?
Jeff stared in the blankness once more.
You know, I don't know what the fuck you are, but you kind of remind me of myself. You've got the nice white face, but all you're missing is a smile.
Jeff began laughing uncontrollably at his own notion. Yet he was stopped. Jeff's ears were assaulted by static, and he fell to the ground. He was shrouded in complete darkness as he clenched his ears for mercy. The figure Jeff earlier questioned was now causing Jeff extreme pain, while the place where his eyes should have been stared directly into Jeff's. At that point, Jeff snapped. He broke free of the pain, drew his knife once more, and began slashing. Each one of his moves were futile, as the man moved around in no time at all, almost as if he was teleporting from place to place to avoid the attacks, literally moving like a Minecraft Enderman. Jeff was like, "Wait, twin? Twin? Twin." The tall man began to fight back. Jeff had just begun to notice the tendrils hanging from the back of his attacker. They grabbed at Jeff, and his response was to swing his knife at each that came near him. Jeff managed to slice what seemed to be an arm. In almost an instant, the limb quickly grew back into place. What had just happened astonished Jeff. He felt almost as if the man was a tall tree, and his tendrils simply branches. Jeff fled from the forest, knowing that there was no way he would be able to fight whatever his adversary truly was in what seemed to be its home territory. See, I think you're right, Alex. I think Jeff even realizes that he's fucked. If he tries to fight Slender Man, like, what does he expect? It's quite possibly the worst case scenario. You could fight anybody else. Maybe not anybody else. The Rake, Smiling Jack, is that what his name is? They might be worse because they will talk to you. The Smiling Jack one's actually pretty good. It's just like a well-written story. But then again, I remember that one from when I was a child too, and it might be written just the same as all of these. Jeff rushed from his attacker and found himself at the same place where he had entered. To the right of him lay the cemetery, open space. As he ran past the trees, he noticed one that lay away from the others, the same tree from before. He ran to it out of instinct and read the note he had seen from a distance. "Do not enter these woods at night. A tall man has been spotted in the area recently. Some call him the Slender Man. Beware, and enter at your own risk." Whatever the being that had stalked him in the woods before was referred to as Slender Man. It should just be whatever being. Whatever being that had stalked him in the woods before was referred to as Slender Man. The name fit perfectly with the description of the tall white figure. Jeff hurried towards the graveyard, where he waited for his foe, wielding his sharp, bloody knife. Jeff's wish was granted. As the Slender Man approached from the woods, it seemed as if it was hesitant to leave its home court. Despite its hesitance, it left the area anyway, and quickly rushed towards Jeff.
The psychopath's instincts started to come back, and he jumped towards the tall man. Jeff was quickly grabbed by his enemy and thrown against a nearby tree. Jeff proceeded to swing again at the tendrils that had grabbed him. He was able to slash at one of the Slender Man's main arms. Blood oozed from the deep cut. The white figure showed no emotion and began snatching at Jeff once again. As he continued to smash Jeff against trees and slabs of rocks. This would totally kill Jeff, right? Like, he's just a human being getting fucking literally tossed around like a Loki by the Hulk. As he continued to smash Jeff into trees, a slab of rock, Jeff's knife slipped from his pocket, or from his grip. Oh my god. I'm completely lost. Oh, there we go. Finally. I just had to zoom in to fucking, what is this, like 200? Yeah, I had to go to 200 to get it all the way zoomed in. I'm still going to low-key lean in a little bit. I really need to go to the doctor and get my vision checked, I think. Part of it's incompetence, part of it is me not being able to read it. Like, the last part was totally just incompetence. I'll just start again from here. The white figure showed no emotion and began snatching at Jeff once again. As he continued to smash Jeff against trees and slabs of rock, Jeff's knife slipped from his grip and fell to the ground with Jeff, colliding with the ground. Jeff's knife slid into his own stomach in a matter of seconds. Blood poured from the wound, and soon the ground was covered in a red liquid. He stood up with a jolt. "Is that the best you got, Slendy? I've taken worse beatings from my father's belt than your weak twig arms." The Slender Man remained silent, but continued fighting. The man reached for a piece of granite from a tombstone, but before he could take hold of it, Jeff jerked the knife from his gut and flung it directly at Slender Man. Jeff's accuracy was precise, and it sliced off one of the man's limbs. Slender Man's left arm was completely gone. As it fell to the ground with a thud, it was quickly met with a thick blood that barged from his shoulder. It was completely drenched in blood. Slender Man briskly disappeared into the darkness, but illuminated behind Jeff. In his right hand, he felt a broken piece of granite that had proceeded to slam into the side of Jeff's head. Jeff fell to the ground once again, almost knocked unconscious. He was not left there for long before he was seized by his assailant and thrown against a grave. The stone exploded on impact with Jeff, standing up once again. Jeff's eyes focused on the name of the grave. As his eyes crossed the name on the granite, his black eyes widened. The words written across the gray slab were recognized by Jeff in an instant. It read out his brother's name. Leo. Something was coursing through Jeff. Rage filled him within an instant. And he lashed out at Slender Man Rage filled him within an instant, and he lashed out at Slender Man at extreme speeds. Jeff's knife was slashing through his suit as well as his pale skin. Slender Man began teleporting toward the forest. "Come on, bitch! I'm not finished with you yet!" Jeff hollered. "I want to help you get to sleep, Randy. You look awfully tired." Whatever was flowing through Jeff caused his insanity to go into an overdrive state. He had become delusional. He ran at Slender Man and back into the forest. He rushed to the woods, not observing his environment whatsoever. Jeff was deep into the forest, still pursuing the man. Slender Man continued warping around the forest.
Jeff's lack of caution caused him to trip on a branch lying in his way. As he crashed into the ground, shards of glass pierced him, and the contents of his pockets were thrown out. His items scattered the ground. As Jeff looked up with his mangled, bloody face, the scent of alcohol graced him. Jeff knew that he had been here before. He had fallen on this tree and dropped his bottle. Jeff desperately reached the ground for his knife. He felt his hand grab hold of something warm. What he had hoped was his blade. Jeff had grabbed his lighter. He quickly scraped it up, hoping that the small flame would provide a source of light. His bloody hand covered the plastic in the red liquid. But after many desperate attempts, a small orange flame was produced. Jeff threw the lighter out in front of him as an attempt to find his knife and lay close to him. But before he could make another movement, Slenderman appeared before him. The smooth white face that he had seen before was now covered in slashes and dark blood. Even though he looked hurt, Slenderman remained strong. Jeff's grip on the leader, I keep saying leader, but it's lighter. It means lighter. Jeff's grip on the lighter became loose. His blood had caused friction between it and his hand. The small blaze dropped towards the ground. Intense flames scorched as the lighter hit the ground. Both adversaries fled away from the flame. Before either of them could put distance between themselves and the flame, it was ignited by the alcohol that soiled the ground. In a matter of seconds, the forest was burning from the ground up. Jeff looked for safety, yet none was to be found in the flames. Slenderman thought nothing of this and continued to swing at Jeff. Jeff fought back, ignoring the orange and red covering his environment. The tall monster grabbed at Jeff. Jeff grabbed his knife and jumped. To no avail. Jeff was pulled by the Slenderman and was now stuck in his grip. Slenderman began to shake Jeff around. As he did this, Jeff bit at him, and a loud crack of bone could be heard. The pain surged through Slenderman. Out of shock, he threw Jeff against a large tree. He keeps throwing Jeff around like a fucking rag doll, literally into everything. Gravestones, rocks, trees. As Jeff flew towards the tree, a sharp pain hit Jeff straight in the back. It continued until he saw a large branch sliding through his torso, and he hit the base of the tree. Jeff had been viciously impaled by a long tree branch. Blood gushing from his mouth and open wounds as he screamed out in pain. Slenderman then fled. He warped to an area of safety where the forest had not been burned as of yet. He watched Jeff screaming, even from a large distance away. He continued to warp away from his territory and left Jeff to burn in the flames. The blaze became brighter and surrounded Jeff. Struggling to avoid that intense heat, he violently slid his body from the tree. The fire engulfed Jeff. Everything swirled around him. He became wrapped up into this flame. There was no hope for Jeff. He had lost his mind long ago, yet there was something different. He had reached his limit, and his state of mind burned just as the forest did. A young girl by the name of Sarah Burgess had been reported missing. She was last seen at Drop-In Bar and Grill at around 9:00 p.m. If you have any info or idea on the whereabouts of Sarah Burgess, please call the station at 404-835-HELP. 4357. That is 404-835-4357. In other news, a major forest fire has broken out in the local area. The cause has not yet been discovered. Investigators are studying the remnants of the forest. The fire has been extinguished. This will hurt much of the animal life in the forest. I imagine it has hurt. This has hurt much of the animal life found in the forest. Heavily wounded Wait, what? Oh my god, I'm just reading like shit today. We're almost done. This will hurt much of the animal life found in the once heavily wooded forest. We'll bring more on this story as it continues. Mark turned off the television and slumped into his couch cushion. Hey honey, you want to go take a look at the forest? Well, what's left of it. They've put out the fire that burned the damn thing to the ground. There's also a girl missing. Maybe we'll see her while we're out there.
Can we do it some other time? I'm kind of busy right now, Mark, and if the police can't find that girl, there's no way in hell we can,
Julia protested. Mark argued. Come on, it won't hurt anything. It won't hurt nothing. It won't be more than a 5-minute walk.
All right, I guess, but only 5 minutes.
The man put on his shoes and left his house with his wife. As they strolled toward the burnt-out forest, they could see something moving in the opposite direction. It looked somewhat human. As they moved closer towards it, they noticed that They noticed what looked like severe burns to his face. The creature's eyelids were completely gone, and it carried an unnatural smile spread across his face. It was completely white, with hints of gray where it looked like it had been burned. Its long black hair was singed. They came closer towards it, and Mark shouted, Hey buddy, do you need some help? Mark bellowed.
Mark, stop. We don't even know who he is. He could be a fucking killer for all we know,
Julia whispered, frightened. The man moved swiftly towards the couple. As he approached them, he drew a thick blade covered in a red liquid.
I don't, but I can tell you need some help to sleep.
Jeff slashed the knife across the man's neck, and he fell to the ground. His wife began to scream loudly. She was unable to continue. She was next. She was stabbed directly in the heart with the knife.
You don't need to worry about me. Just go to sleep.
I have to admit that ending is fucking garbage. Jeff was getting on my nerves too. I was rooting for Slendy. Slendy got away in the end. Slenderman Jeff got his what's what, but somehow just comes back in the end for no reason. They literally could have ended it with the burning forest. That would have been a fire ending. Pun intended. What do we think of that story, everybody? I'm not good. I know, what a twist. I was hoping Jeff finally died, but it's just a little twist. See, I'm trying to find this comic right now. When I was a kid, there was a comic that I liked of Jeff the Killer. That was basically Jeff the Killer crawling around like a burned down house, and then he was able to somehow find a bottle of water in it, and then pours that in his eyes because like he burned off his fucking eyelids. His eyes would be so dried out. I hate news exposition in stories. I agree, it should have ended with the fight. See, news exposition can be done properly, but the whole thing is it gives away too much information most of the time. Usually it's used as a way to just go like, well, here's a conclusion, here's a way to wrap it all up without needing like to actually say anything like specific, which is pretty lame, I have to say. But overall, it's a pretty interesting story. If Jeff died, 7 out of 10. With Jeff alive, 2 out of 10. So true. The story was all right. I did like the battle between Slenderman and Jeff. It was kind of well put together. They just make Jeff this like superhuman character, and he's not supposed to be that. He's literally just a human that got fucking disfigured in a fight and then went insane. His insanity drove him into demon mode. he became spooky demon mode for real, for real. But that's enough reading for today. It's hurting my eyes. I can't read. I suck at reading. I'm trying to read more, trying to become more knowledgeable and more well-read. Reading in your head is a lot easier than reading aloud, we're coming to find out. But I do want to thank everybody for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to continue next time with Jane the Killer stories as we do like the H3 waiting room streams. We're going to be doing other comedic style creepypastas because I think those are like the best stories to use. But we're going to go over these on their own separate streams throughout the week. I might do them on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how we continue through them. But yeah, I really do appreciate everybody that stopped in. Again, remember, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for Saturday, Tuesdays sometimes, Sundays sometimes. We're trying to add more streams in there. I really do appreciate it. This is Chowder signing off.